Welcome to this explainer. You know, mental health is something that touches almost every single family in the world, but the science behind it? Well, it can seem like a really big, confusing puzzle. Today, we're going to break it all down into very simple steps. We'll uncover exactly what mental health is, how doctors have learned to treat it over the years, and why so many people are still fighting their battles in total silence. Let's get started. Now, take a look at this powerful number from the World Health Organization: 1 in 7. Nearly 1 in 7 people on our planet lives with some kind of mental disorder. To put that into perspective, just imagine you're sitting in a room with 6 other people. The chances are at least one person in that room is fighting a hidden battle in their mind right now. It's not rare at all. It's a very, very common human experience that we all need to understand. To make this super easy to follow, we have a clear roadmap for our explainer today. 1. What is mental health? 2. The P factor. 3. Brain treatments. 4. Healing with words. And 5. Roadblocks to getting care. Let's jump right into part 1. What exactly is mental health? So, what do we actually mean when we say mental disorder? Basically, it's a deep disturbance, a very big change in how a person thinks, feels, or acts. We're not just talking about having a bad day or feeling sad because it's raining outside. No, it's a change so big that it disrupts your normal, everyday routine and causes long-term pain. For example, imagine someone feels so much fear inside their head that they literally cannot walk out their front door to go to work. That's a mental disorder. It's when internal feelings cause very real problems in your daily life. Okay, moving right along to part 2, we're going to talk about something called the P factor, or looking at the mind under one big umbrella. For a long time, doctors studied general intelligence. They noticed that if someone is really good at math, they're usually pretty good at reading, too. They called this general brain power, the G factor. Well, modern scientists have found something very similar when it comes to mental health. They call it the P factor. The P factor links all mental struggles together. Instead of lots of separate problems, it's a single scale that measures a person's overall vulnerability to mental disorders. It puts everything under one giant umbrella. This is a huge shift in how we think. In the past, doctors put different illnesses into completely separate boxes. Depression goes in this box, anxiety goes in that box. But the new way, the P factor links them all on one continuous scale. They overlap. A high score simply means someone is generally vulnerable to mental struggles. So they might experience many different connected symptoms over their lifetime. It's just a much more connected, big picture way to look at human suffering. Now that we know how connected the mind really is, a massive question pops up. How have doctors actually tried to fix the physical brain over the course of history? That brings us to part 3, a historical journey of brain treatments. Let's take a look. Here is a timeline showing 3 major steps in medical history. Back in the early to mid-1900s, doctors used psychosurgery. This meant literally cutting into the brain, like a lobotomy. As you can guess, it was highly controversial and very dangerous. Then in the 1950s, things changed with psychopharmacology, which is a big word for using medicine. Finally, today, doctors use neuromodulation, which uses electricity. Let's break down these modern shifts in really simple terms. First up, psychopharmacology. To make it super simple, this is just brain medicine. Pills! When these medicines were invented in the 1950s, they were an absolute game changer. They acted like a bridge, bringing people back to normal life. By safely balancing the brain's chemicals, these medicines replaced those dangerous old surgeries and allowed so many people to live happy, normal lives again. Today, we have even more advanced tech called neuromodulation. Neuro means brain, and modulation just means to change or adjust something. So doctors use very safe, controlled amounts of electricity to adjust abnormal pathways in the brain. Think of a treatment like deep brain stimulation. In this case, doctors act kind of like electricians. They fix the broken circuits inside the brain to stop severe depression or really bad obsessive thoughts. It's absolutely fascinating. Okay, so we've seen the physical tools, surgeries, pills, and electricity. But what about just talking? Can simple words actually rewire our brains? Let's explore that in part 4, Healing Minds with Words Through Psychotherapy. You might have heard of an older method called psychoanalysis, created by Sigmund Freud. That method digs deep, deep into your past and your hidden childhood conflicts. But today, the most proven tool we have is called cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT for short. And CBT is totally different. It looks at right now. It teaches you immediate, practical skills to change your current habits. CBT is incredibly effective. It's what we call time sensitive, meaning you aren't doing it forever, usually just 12 to 16 weeks. Honestly, it acts a lot like going to school. Your therapist is the teacher, and they teach you the skills so you can eventually become your very own therapist. The biggest lesson? It teaches you that what you think, what you feel, and what you do are all tightly connected in one continuous circle. Watch how these steps link together. Step 1, an event happens. Let's say you walk into a room of new people. Step 2, you have a thought. You think, oh no, these people aren't going to like me. Step 3, because of that thought, you feel a negative emotion, like fear or anxiety. And finally, step 4, because you feel fear, you take action. You run away or hide. Well, CBT hands you the key to break this exact chain. If you change the thought in step 2 to, hey, I'm an interesting person, it magically changes the feeling to happiness. And then your action changes to walking up and saying hello. You literally change your mind by changing your thoughts. So we have amazing medicines, we have safe electrical tools, and we have powerful talk therapies like CBT. This brings us to a really tragic question. If we have all these great treatments, why are millions of people globally still suffering? Let's find out in Part 5, the roadblocks to getting care. Researchers studied a hospital in Rwanda to understand this, and they found the biggest roadblock is something called stigma. Stigma simply means a negative label. It's that deep, paralyzing fear of what society will say or do if they find out you are sick. Patients in the study said they were absolutely terrified of local gossip. This fear acts like an invisible chain. It forces people to hide away in total silence instead of reaching out for the help they desperately need. And the barriers just stack up, one by one, into a giant mountain. First, there's that fear of community shame and gossip. Second, people often just don't know that hospitals have doctors for the mind. Third, because they don't know about hospitals, they might visit traditional or faith healers first. Fourth, they simply might not have the money for expensive brain medicines. And finally, the hospital might literally be miles and miles away, and they have absolutely no way to get there. Because of all these huge roadblocks, the sad truth from the World Health Organization is that most people in the world simply suffer without treatment. It's heartbreaking. The medicine exists, the therapy exists, but the bridge to reach those tools, for most of the world, that bridge is completely broken. Understanding the incredible science of the brain is amazing, but it really is only the first step. Our biggest real-world challenge is breaking down that stigma. So I want to leave you with this question to think about. How can we build a world where the 1 in 7 people who need us can cross that bridge and get help without fear? Thank you for watching this explainer. Keep learning, and please always have empathy for those fighting battles we cannot see.